It's Velveeta versus cheddar. Our Velveeta melts much better.
This looks like cheese, right? But it isn't. This syrup, no maple tree involved. And this was literally held together with wood pulp and sold to the consumer as Parmesan cheese. In the United States, you are likely eating food that's banned or tightly regulated in much of Europe. And no one's telling you, because technically, they don't have to. In comparison to much of the European Union, there are far fewer protections on food labeling. And the ones that are there are only subject to what a reasonable consumer would believe. This was, in fact, the basis for a U.S. district judge's dismissal of a Pop-Tart lawsuit in Chicago. No reasonable consumer would believe that the filling in a Pop-Tart contained a certain amount of strawberries based on the image on the package and its use of the term strawberry. But fake foods aren't just misleading. They're also becoming incredibly common. According to a new analysis led by researchers at Johns Hopkins, they found that more than half of the calories consumed at home by adults in the United States come from ultra-processed foods. So what is fake food exactly? And how did America become the imitation nation while Europe said no? Well, let's take a look. Fake food, or imitation food, is a legally defined category in the United States. It looks like food, it's sold like food, but it's chemically or structurally altered to be cheaper, longer lasting, and more marketable. Some examples: pasteurized processed cheese product, non-dairy whipped topping, bacon bits with no bacon, wasabi from chemicals, vanilla without the bean, and truffle oil that's really just canola oil with a chemical flavorant. Same with this 100% cranberry juice. 100% juice blend cranberry. It is disclosed, but the size of the font and the blend versus cranberry seems a bit misleading, don't you think? And listen, I get it. Part of this comes down to economics. It takes over 40 gallons of maple sap just to make one jug of real maple syrup. That's why a single bottle costs over $10 and your local grocery store is flooded with a plethora of imitation syrups that don't have any maple sap at all. But hey, they're easier on your pocketbook. But the growing falsification of our foods means that literal tons of items on grocery store shelves and on restaurant plates are imitations of the real thing. Because the push for healthier, low-fat, low-sodium, low-sugar, and low-cost options in processed foods sounds great on paper, but it often means cutting out the very ingredients that gave our childhood favorites their nostalgia. No, really, the food of your childhood did taste different, and the legality of this practice is a bit fuzzy at best. Officially, the US does have laws on food labeling. To prevent this deception on food labels, both the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, and the Food Safety and Inspection Service, the FSIS, have regulations and guidance documents governing food labeling claims. But so long as there have been rules, companies have been quick to find the loophole. For example, while the US agreed to discontinue the labeling of sparkling wine as champagne in a 2006 wine trade agreement with the European Union, you can still find California champagne on store shelves today. Now, some people have pushed back on this. Lawsuits, often class action lawsuits, are brought when the label does not reflect the content of the product.
Unbelievable! I always wanted to know how you elves got the stripes on your fudge stripe cookies.
So for example, some lawsuits like fudge cookies containing no butter, whole wheat crackers made mostly of refined flour, smokehouse almonds not cooked with real smoke. You get my point. Many of the lawsuits cite the 1975 Magnuson-Moss Warranties Act, which governs warranties on consumer products at the federal level. While the act does not directly address food labeling, it can be indirectly relevant when food labeling claims are considered warranties. In one example, the Godiva chocolatier faced a class action lawsuit for deceptive labeling due to its Belgium 1926 packaging, despite the chocolate being made in the United States. The lawsuit alleged that the labeling led consumers to believe that the chocolate was made in Belgium, implying higher quality and origin. Godiva argued the label indicated the company's founding year and location, but the court sided with the consumers, leading to a $20 million settlement. But despite the picture that I've painted thus far, not all fake food is bad, and in many cases you might prefer it for your own ethical reasons, like having oat milk in your latte or a Beyond Beef patty in your burger. And fake foods have also allowed those with dietary restrictions and allergies to enjoy a much broader array of dishes, like with imitation crab, which is generally considered safe to eat during pregnancy because it is typically made from cooked pollock and other ingredients that are low in mercury. But before I get too ahead of myself, I think it's important that we go back and briefly ask, how did we get here?
Mother Murphy, lucky me. My wife uses Swanson TV turkey dinners. And make your husband lucky, too.
After World War II, workers needed convenience, and food companies stepped in, offering frozen dinners, processed cheese, and powdered eggs. Shelf life became king, and flavor came from chemistry. But we didn't go from scratch-made to science experiment overnight. Originally,